David and Housekeeping Awesome Jeff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I am Jeff Doss. What's up, everybody? What's up, insiders? Man, it's been a big week, and we got even more coming. So
It's
gonna be fun
to talk about.
Yes, excited to have you back, man. And we had a really good show last week as well. I thought.
I caught like tail end of it, man. I was, I wish I was on the show.
Yeah. So
Man,
we had a lot of just a good time sharing some things, and hopefully, if you guys hadn't listened to that, go back and listen, and maybe it could help somebody going through rough times and struggles and addiction and all kinds of things. So we are sponsored by Virtual Fight Tour, and man, they just finished VFT and Jesse Ray, and everyone at Next Level just had King of New York, and it was a success. We had Bailey Murphy winning both the open weight, and Karina, I don't remember her last name. She's from Canada, but now a newest member of Straight Up. She won open weight and the overall grands as well. So Straight Up won both of those. So congrats to those guys. You had Sam Diaz, Joey Castro winning the men's forms and weapons titles and senior ones. And then you had Maddie Kinaway winning forms. You had Amber Rutherford winning weapons. I don't remember I think Joey won weapons as well, but I'm not too sure. But so lots of good things.
I got a question for you on that.
Yeah.
So Joey and Sam won like the men's forms and weapons and the senior forms and weapons.
Yeah, so Sam won the senior one.
Sam won the senior and Joey won the 18 plus.
Yeah. And I guess he just chose to do 18 plus, and Sam chose to do the 30 plus.
Okay, that's why this is my question.
Instead of doing both like they normally would.
Is Joey actually older than Sam?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, he is.
And I'm like, this is a bit odd.
Yeah, because I'm older than Joey by like 2, maybe 3 years. So, yeah.
Man.
Yeah, man. So that's just, and the same thing with a lot of us, because we chose to stay in 18 plus for years doing, he wanted to stay in the 18 plus for Japanese and traditional challenge, and I wanted to stay in for Korean. So really, this is the first year that either of us really did senior stuff, so
word.
So yeah. It was a good event. And also guys at the Great Mayan Challenge had a great event as well. So lots of, both of those events have become, just staples in their area, in big regional events. We talk all the time about how awesome, Florida is, and just what's going on down there. Same thing with New York. And so lots going on with that. So congrats to both of those guys, to USA Sport Karate putting on a great event, and to Jesse and his team there putting on a great event.
Just as long as those regions don't have people or tournaments where they like to strike you in the groin.
Oh, God.
Because apparently people haven't gotten enough of that thread and still want to jump on that.
Yeah, today has been
the
funny.
The thread won't stop. You must notice.
And it's not even on the actual one. It's on my page, so I get it all the time.
I know.
I'm getting all the updates.
What's funny is it's like, because I guess the guy who hosted the tournament, the guy was a really cool dude. The dude's name was Ricky. I think I mentioned that on the episode too. But like they're dogging me that I didn't know what the rule was. I knew what the rule was. Started fighting. I just told them, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't.
Right.
But like, why are we just okay with fondling another man's genitals while competing in an activity? Why are we okay with this activity? Why are we just like, you're upset with me that I think that's strange?
Yeah, that is weird.
How is this? This is the world we live in.
Because again, it wasn't like he struck you. It was a grab. So yeah.
Exactly. Why are we?
I don't think that was anywhere in the rules.
Yeah, if we're talking about rules, that ain't it.
Yeah, that was not
whatever.
it. Yeah.
You know.
But anyways.
Oh.
All right.
Hey,
So
no, before we go,
Europe versus the Americas, man. This is going to be great. All right. BFT Europe versus the Americas. It's what, October 16th, I believe, in Bristol at the Bristol Open. So going to be a big event. Go ahead and get your tickets.
Yeah,
that's
14th, 15th.
Pay-per-view. 14th, 15th. So it's going to be a big pay-per-view. This is going to be this could be the best one ever. It should be.
This is going to be the best tournament of the year.
Right. It's just wild, man. It's going to be great. So excited to see that. This is a busy time, man. October is just nuts with events everywhere. You know, we have WKC, we have Bristol Open, we have the Diamonds, we have WKU. All that's going on at the same time. And then not much after that, we have Pan Ams. I mean, there's just a lot. This is just the way we end the year on top going, you know. So I'm excited about it. I'll be at several of those at Diamonds and Pan Ams. So
you know what I think about too? As I walked outside and I felt that brisk air.
Yeah.
So I will tell you, that's what I love about Illinois is I'm in the Midwest, but I'm not so ice capped north. Right. That I know I'm going to have that for an extended period of time. Whereas when I was in Minnesota, like you might have it for 2 weeks and then it was a blizzard. No joke. You probably remember there was a few times we went to the Diamonds and there was like, even in October, and there was like, oh, there's a little bit of snow on the ground. This is strange.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And yeah, there was plenty of times, you know, as a kid when it's, you know, snowing on Halloween, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you going to do? Of course we still went out.
Well,
don't even ask that question.
Right. Well, I mean, and see, we've had things here where it's been like March and like into April and then snowstorms.
Oh yeah, that's a real thing.
It's just wild. So you just really don't know, man.
But here's where I was going with my thought though, as I'm outside and I just feel that, and it's just we have these sensory things that just bring back memories, and I have that sensory thing, and it just reminds me of standing outside of the Diamonds,
right?
You know, whether it was in St. Paul, whether it was in Bloomington, whether it was in the Civic Center or the River Center, you know, whether it was downtown, like it just immediately brings me back. Like, oh, I love it. And then I start thinking like, that's not my favorite time for competition. My favorite time is the spring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's just all upside. It doesn't matter if you bomb it, you got the rest of the freaking year.
Right.
Know?
That's true. That's true.
But I think it's all of that is a culmination to what is happening now in this time, like the fall.
Yeah, this time though is very exciting though. It's just
if you bombed it all year,
but
you win the Diamonds, nobody gives a shit.
Right.
Won the Diamonds.
Right. And then sometimes you've seen the opposite. You've seen people win everything.
Yep.
And then the Diamonds, someone else comes out and just surprises everyone.
Like, who are you?
Yeah.
Right. I think one of those times was and then we can move on to the rest, which was when Steve Terada first came out.
Yeah.
You know, I think he only did like a couple of tournaments that year. Right?
2000 he did probably like 5 or 6, but he won most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think there was like a couple of guys who were like number 1, number 2 seed. And I don't think he had a seed. Right?
No, I don't think he did.
He didn't have a seed, and all of a sudden it was just like he competed, and it was like, what are we talking about? Clearly, it's just him, right?
Yeah.
It just leaves everybody else just crushed. All right, like, but I was the number 1 seed, you know, like no, you didn't get a chance.
It was a wild time too. You got to think, 2000 was the first time that you could do multiple divisions.
Yeah.
Okay.
We call it open now.
So it was, you could actually do musical and do open forms. In the past, you had to pick one. The year before, you know, it was, if you like, so if I chose to do traditional, I switched over to do that. I couldn't do anything else. So it was the first year I could do open forms, traditional, everything as well. And then, so you had that, which changed things. You also had Jimmy Pham moving up to adults. So that created the way for the number, the next seed was Kalman Choka. He was the only one. Everyone else said, we don't want to compete against Jimmy. I'm going to do regular division and just kind of see what, if we have a shot, right? And he said, you know what? I'm going to take this long haul. I'm just going to keep going against him. And you know what? The next year when he moves out, I'm going to have the number 1 seed and go. And he had a great year that year. That was a smart play, right? But you also had Steve who could go in there as well. So it was very interesting just how that happened. And then I think they eventually changed the divisions to where it was like, because it used to be like 14-17 was musical, right? And then it switched to where it was a 16-17 and a 14-15 and all that. So yeah, everything just completely changed, man. So lots of good stuff. I think 2001 was when they changed it to where they made it multiple, like every 2 years.
It was, but I think we'll have to do like an extended episode, not this one. We got too much to talk about.
Yeah.
On when rules changed from what to what,
correct,
where they went to the next point, where they are now,
right,
and maybe where we should be. Like we've seen this all. We saw what it was, what it did. Where should we really be? Maybe it is what it is today. Spoiler alert, it's not.
All right. So one thing from all the announcements, one person or someone that was just announced that you're looking forward to see in this Europe versus America.
Oh, I think all the Italian ladies.
Yes.
I think that's it because they are very talented. And I'm really interested to see how they perform. And what I mean by they're talented, they can kick and they can punch very well. They have good kicking range and ability.
Yeah.
The only thing about their kicking as a whole, I really gotta, and I hate lumping an entire group of people into this, but I'm about to.
Yeah.
The only thing about the Italians, as far as the way they kick, they step up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not like, oh, it's like a skip, but like there's often going to be a step before they kick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, if anybody fights Avery and Avery finds his way there, hasn't been announced. I don't know if he is.
He's not.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not. It's like, it's confirmed he's not going.
Well, I don't think he can get. I mean, I guess he could get from Wales. I mean, not Wales, Ireland to Bristol, but I don't know.
Yeah, why can't you, man?
Dude, I don't know.
You can take a canoe.
A canoe.
All right, but I mean,
but he also has
somebody like that,
lawyer.
like I use Avery as an example because he really has the best jam back fist that we've seen probably this last decade, at least. Right? I mean, I would say probably the best since Jotty, right? So, I mean, that just leaves you with somebody who's got timing like that and a range of a technique like that. Like, even though you're talented, you got to watch out. But they have a boom or bust that is like one way or the other. So I really think I'm excited to see how that plays out because they're definitely talented, but that's the thing. That's the thing with their style of fighting that is actually appealing. Is they're skilled, and they're fast. I'm just gonna. I'm doing again what I said I don't like doing. Is I'm lumping in a group of people into a whole, but I'm doing it in a positive nature, and I'm going to use the European style of fighting. Like with you looks like, all right, you have a high talent level, right? You could have a super huge boom, but I mean, you could get picked off pretty easily, right? Yeah. I still strongly believe that the best talent is right here in the States. I think the best fighters in the world are right here. There's no question about it, right?
Right.
Elijah Everell.
Do you feel that way though when you look at what the matchups, not the matchups, but just the roster they have put together for women compared to our roster we put
That's
together.
the difference.
And
I think the roster they have put together for the women is better than ours.
I think as far as in experience and just experience,
not just experience. I think everything.
Possibly, but again, we haven't really seen a lot of our team is very young, except for Katana, and so
all right,
a lot of them are very young, and so we're gonna see what happens, So
but
I'm interested to see how it goes, but I do feel like overall the women's team that they have set up has more experience, and if you just look on paper, they would be more talented. Now, does that mean
let's look at it like
overall?
what you were just saying on paper. Who's the best fighter women from the States?
Katana that is on that team.
Katana. Okay.
Right.
Who's the best fighter from Europe?
That's on that one? I would say Evelyn.
Might be Evelyn.
True.
Probably Evelyn. Probably Evelyn.
Probably, but there's also the what's the girl
See
from?
What I'm saying? You see what I mean?
What's the country?
It's so close.
And
Francesca?
Blue.
Yeah.
Well, no, not Francesca. That's
it's the new Italian who just got announced.
Yeah, she is, but also no, I think the girl from is it Bulgaria? No, I can't think of it.
The point is being made right now.
Yeah, I know.
The point is being made that you might say, all right, it might be Evelyn, but look at how close everybody is.
Right.
Maybe they're better than Evelyn. We don't know. You think it's probably Evelyn. But it's not a question. It's Katana who's the best from the States.
Correct. And the other ones are on the come up. You know what I mean? That's just,
like they're gonna do okay. They're gonna do well. I don't really know if they're gonna win, but that's the other thing. They might spread them. It could be with the right coaching.
Correct.
It is an interesting style of fighting. Now,
it is.
Let me finish that thought. So, yes, Katana is the best women's fighter right now from the States. So, if you wanted to take Katana out, you don't have to use Evelyn to do that.
No.
Right?
No,
even if you did, right? I probably wouldn't. Right?
I wouldn't. No. I would put another kicker in there that would neutralize and almost just they would just kick, just like stop each, like where it just ends up nothing.
No, because Katana's going to be the better kicker no matter what.
Think so?
Yes, Katana's the better kicker. I'm going to give her that, man. Katana's the best kicker out of all of the women. She is.
All right.
She is. Right. So then I would be like, don't match with that. Right? Just leave that alone. Kick in the air. And right? I would mirror that. I would go, we're going to give you the polar opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So who would that be? Who would be from Europe? Who would be the polar opposite? What about the
I'm
girl
trying to remember.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember all.
No,
yeah.
There's been a lot of announcements, and I can't remember, but I always think, and this person's it's not happening, but I go back to what if Regina Thompson fought against a top kicker? How would she approach it? She would not have trouble, right?
It depends on, unless it's Claire.
Unless it's one of the greatest kickers of all time.
Right.
Right.
But when Claire has fought over there, she had some trouble with some of the same girls too. So, I mean, it's just all different.
Because she was the kicker. You can run into trouble when you are the kicker.
When you are the kicker.
You find yourself stepping, right? You find yourself getting hit with a body jab as you're trying to pick your leg up, right? That stuff happens. But I don't know, man.
I wish
I have a feeling
wish that we would have known, we would have
win
gotten into it this way, so I could have looked at the names. So I had the names, but
I don't know. Either way you slice it, I have a feeling that Europe is going to win the women's challenge.
Yeah.
But don't mean I'm not going to be rooting for the States, man. Of course I am, but. I'm intrigued about this men's matchup. I can't remember a time when you knew that at the end of the year, this was going to be the best tournament of the year before the tournament ever started. Right. I can't remember a time. Right. I just know Bristol would have to completely bomb it for this to not be the best tournament of the year. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I don't even want to jinx it, so I'm not even going to say it. So, yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. So, all right. So this is going to be big. Get your tickets now. We got to watch. I mean, everybody's got to watch. This is going to be awesome. And, for me, I mean, it's my one weekend that I have like off per se. So that would be, I'm going to be watching that and then preparing for the Diamond. So, yeah.
No, real quick, before we get to competitors of the week, I want to tell you this. So it wasn't on last week. I got to give you this, man. I got to give you some cliff notes as to what happened, right?
Yeah.
So for the listeners and the insiders that don't know, Lindsay's dad passed away. Now, I'm not going to give you details of that. I don't know if you shared that.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. So I've mentioned this on the pod a few times. There's two things I do not do. I don't throw up and I don't cry.
Right.
I can only say one of those things now.
Yeah.
Right. And I wasn't drinking anything to make me throw up. All right.
Right.
But here's what I will tell you. So Lindsay's dad's name is Al Miller. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Al Miller is one of the greatest men I've ever known in my life. Right. So a buddy of mine, and I'm just going to use this as a Google moment right now. A buddy of mine kind of challenged me. He goes, "You ever notice you always call him by both names?"
Right.
I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, "You always say Al Miller. You never say Al. You never say like Mills or Miller. You always say Al Miller." I'm like, well, yeah, it's kind of like Brett Favre, right? Like you just say both names together like it's one, right? He's just because he's that impactful of a guy, right? Everybody knows him. Everybody's had an encounter with him. So in his last day, he did get a chance to say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, he had the foresight to know that, but I don't want to say that because he would be upset at saying that. All right. The Holy Spirit came upon him and just said, listen, your time's up. You're coming. Right. And so that happened. I want to give you just little tidbits, and it's a little bragging on him. Right. But when we were at the visitation, right, it's emotional. It's gut wrenching. Emotions are like this all the time. People coming in, hey, how you doing? I'm going to tell you this. There's one thing. When people say this to you, they go, man, thoughts and prayers are going out to you. Hang in there. That gets old real quick.
Yeah.
Right. But, there's some things, and I don't mind sharing certain things, And so one of the things I love the most about him is in his last few years, he and I got to be really, really, really tight. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was over there all the time. Heck, I was doing the podcast from his house.
Right. That's right.
So, it just got to be a point where, and the only regret I have was not fully embracing calling him dad early on into our marriage when we were married. I just didn't get it. It felt weird to me at a point. I was like, but you're not, right?
Right.
But he is. And he made a choice to call me son, right? He has 7 kids of his own.
Right.
And he made a choice to call me son, right?
Right.
And I couldn't get that, right? And one of the things that he really shared with me, and then I'll let us go on with the rest of the pod, was that he just said, I wanted, everybody to really know that he was preaching Jesus till like his last breaths. He was sharing Christ with everybody. I couldn't believe it. Right.
Yeah.
So one of the greatest things he ever taught me was understanding the full weight of what your sin is, what its impact is, and who paid for it. Right?
Right.
Pow.
Boom.
Right?
Yeah.
Pow. Mind blowing. Right? Because it's a real thing. It don't matter whether you believe it. Right? It's still there. Right?
Right.
I could believe this flower is blue, but it's red. It doesn't matter if I believe it's blue. It's still red.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But man, he did a podcast with my good buddy Joel.
Yeah.
On
It's great.
suffering, right? So for any insider who wants to know about this, I will share that with anybody.
Yep.
Right? It is extremely impactful. And I'm not
It
trying
is.
to plug anybody.
No, it
what
is.
the Holy Spirit was doing, man. I'm telling you. So for any insider listening, y'all want to hear something? Just shoot me a message, man. I'm easy to find. I will get it to you like that.
Easily. Yep.
It's powerful. All right.
It is. I agree, man. All right. So let's go into, you want to go? I'll go into my competitor of the week first.
Sure.
All right. So my competitor of the week is Akin Williams. You guys, most of you guys probably know him as the VFT center ref. But dude, this guy is a killer, a bomber. And from New York, I met him on Team Elite 1996.
Yeah, so y'all were teammates together.
Yes, we were teammates for a long time, 3 or 4 years, and but continued to be close and great friends. He was just an important leader to me growing up. Always had something positive to say. Always was motivational, and was always there, right behind me, even if I was doing forms, if I was doing weapons, if I was fighting. I'd always say that about him and Jesse Ray, man. Those two guys were just like big brothers to me growing up. So amazing person. Also, he has one of the best reverse punches and most powerful reverse punches there is, man. And this dude, he came on the scene and it's just like, he was going to hit you with it. He may win, he may lose, but he was going to hit you with that reverse punch. And
just
it was
hitting guys while he's stationary. He didn't move forward. He didn't move backward.
No, just
movement happened. Exactly. He throws it and guys drop.
Right. It was just wild. And sometimes he would do that to a fault. Like, okay, Reggie's coming in with a side kick. Don't just stand there and throw the reverse punch. It didn't matter. He was going to do it. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes it didn't, But, man, I loved his energy. I loved just, his fighting style was just fun. There's some great videos of him on YouTube actually fighting a great fight, him versus Matt Winsper. It might have been at Lee Ireland's tournament years ago. So I think it was 93 or 94. And it actually may have been 96. But check that out. I think Jerry Fontenay put it up years ago. Akin Williams versus Matt Winsper. This is a great fight. Akin's just in like a gray and black uniform, or I may have the uniform wrong, but just before he was on a team, and just these guys are just going at it, man. And it was just a fun one to watch. And you see Akin with great side kicks as well as his reverse punch. But to me, like him, Jesse, Jody, those guys coming out on Team Elite from 96 till then, Akin was always a key member of the team that we had as Team Elite. Him, Jesse, and whoever else really from those years. If you put in different people, he was and we always had more than one team when we competed, but he was one of those main guys that really, put it in there. And to me, 99 was finally when it kind of went all together for him. He won a lot of his divisions and won several grands in that middleweight grand, and for him, he had to beat either Preston or he had to beat Reggie. It was like, because they kept switching years, and he finally did it. So, and now he's an amazing, just center ref. He's again supporting Jesse, and a great guy. He's in amazing shape still to this day. So,
oh yeah, he was fighting not that many years ago.
No, he fought
made a comeback.
This at Philly 2-3 weeks ago. He fought in every division. He fought 18 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus, and 50 plus.
That dude, he did that. I think it was like a couple WKCs ago. It might have been like 2018. I think he did that, and I think he won gold for nationals.
Hey, I loved him as a coach for K-Talk. I thought he did a great job with that too, man.
So I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
So he was a very good coach for K-Talk when K-Talk was finally starting to, make some steps. And he Jedi mind tricked Hayabusa one time. And I'm like, oh, don't fall for this, guys. We did. It's all right. It's whatever. He did good. Right.
Yeah.
But you know what? I remember Aachen, just guys circling, and I just remember that red and white uniform, guys trying to circle around because he's the middleweight. He's not the lightweight, he's not the heavyweight.
Right.
He could be the light bruiser, which is exactly what he was, right?
Correct.
And then you just pow, dropping guys.
Yeah.
Man.
Loved it. All right. So Aachen Williams, my competitor of the week. Who do you got for us?
Competitor of the week is another throwback.
Yeah.
Wayne Douglas. So Wayne Douglas in the Forms of Weapons community. All right. With the weapons community, we're going to call Wayne primarily a bow staff competitor.
Even though he was a great all-around competitor as a junior. He really was.
Right? All right. Minnesota's finest, man. Right?
Yeah.
Right from the east side of St. Paul. Right? So Wayne Douglas did it all with just the bow. I mean, this kid was so cool because I say kid because he really came on. He was like 10 years old. Right? And yeah, that's when we really started to notice him. Right. And you saw this long blonde mane, right? With the Karate Kid headband. Like he already had like, all right, this is clearly your look. Right. But what people don't know back then is back then in Minnesota, there was a lot of karate schools. Right. So he was out of United Karate.
Okay.
It wasn't NK. Right. But it kind of was. Because there was a guy named Mike Lowry who used to be in NK and then decided, I'm out.
Yeah.
And then started United Karate and basically did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And instead of an NK on his uniform, put a UK, be like,
yeah,
think I've seen this before, right? It's the same exact thing, right? So that's where Wayne started. Wayne started there, right? Just like a few other guys, just like, oh gosh, why am I blanking? One of the greatest kickers ever. Come on.
Oh, Steve Horse.
Steve Horse started there too. So they were like classmates, right?
Yeah, they were.
So, but at one point he was like, man, maybe I'll come train with you guys and do this NK thing. So in 99, he was really 99 and 2000, he was kind of training with us. And then he did a fair amount of training with Casey. And I don't know if Casey has something to do with it, but immediately he was just on JPM, right? Which
yeah. So like in 99, he won the US Open, right? And that was pretty much his first year of really being winning consistently, and being on stage. And he won the US Open, and he was on Jungle Care from there, actually at that time on John Chung's. And then after that, he was on JPM. It was, but Steve was his private lesson coach. That was his competition coach. Steve Horse was. He made a lot of his other forms and stuff up.
His like opens
and things.
Yeah. That's
and helped him and trained him along the way when, obviously at that time we weren't doing Skype and things like that. So Casey's time with him was limited,
Right.
But, so yeah.
So I'm gonna give you a little insight because I haven't really said yet why Wayne is good. But anyway,
yeah, true.
But I mean, we did a fair amount of training together, and I remember at the time it was like 2000. I remember like there was a bunch of kids I was training with.
Yeah,
kids at the time, like Jenny Johnson Blanchard, my brother, right?
Yeah,
Nick Wynn.
Yeah,
and Travis Johnson, right? All these guys, super talented.
Was Anthony as well? Anthony Murata?
Anthony Murata was too cool for us, man.
Oh,
he wasn't
right,
NK,
that's right.
And he was too cool.
It's too cool.
No, but he did train with us sometimes.
Yeah.
And his training ethic, like he don't mess around, right?
No.
I joke around way too much for Anthony. Anthony only trained with me like twice, and he's like, "No, you don't take it seriously enough." He literally said those words. He's like, "I can't train with you. You don't take it seriously enough." And I'm like, "What would make you think I do?" But whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I remember feeling like, man, I'm the old dude here, right?
Right.
So funny, right? But then I started helping him a little bit. I was like, here, let's try this little thing with your open forum. Let's try this. Because he wanted to do a side swipe. I remember talking to he and his dad, Rick. I was like, well, do it like this. But remember, they're so little at that point. Like they don't really have muscle to really punch through and do it at that point. But the crazy thing, man, right? When we would be doing sections and he would do his bow, like he set the freaking tone.
Yeah.
We all went so hard after Wayne would go because he goes so fast. We all almost wanted to throw up, right?
Yeah.
That's how hard we would go.
That's awesome.
There's nothing that goes that fast, right?
Correct.
I mean, the people that competed that went at Wayne Douglas speed, there's very few. I would say maybe like Vince Johnson, maybe top speed, John Valera. I don't think there's too many other guys that competitors that hit that speed. Yeah. It was so crazy. And he had some iconic moves. All right. His ending point was so cool in his form when he spun it super fast, took his bow and just stabbed it into the ground.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like he was Gandalf the Ghetto. Right. Y'all shall not pass. Right. But man, it was just Wayne Douglas was cooler than the other side of the pillow, man.
Yeah,
and then start getting some calls from Hollywood. Hey, come do this thing, come do that thing, cut your hair. Cut my what?
Yeah.
It pays this much money. I'll cut my hair.
That's right. And he's still out there doing stunts to this day, man.
Is he really doing stunts?
Yeah.
I remember he was doing some he'd do some acting on certain episodes.
And he may still do some of that, but I think he kind of went eventually into the stunt game as well. So
I feel like for like an open martial arts forms competitor, like going into stunts is something you always have. It's always a possibility.
Right.
You're ever just down on your luck? I suppose I could always just go into stunts. You know what I mean?
I guess.
Like, hey, can you do tricks? Yeah. Well, just hang on to it. If you ever need a fix, you can just, pick up the pipe and go right to stunts.
Oh,
man. Like I can go to stunts. I don't know. I don't trick anymore.
Still. Hey, man. You just got to learn how to.
My competitor of the week is cool ass Wayne Douglas.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right. So we got two kind of topics.
Let's hit it, man. Let's hit it.
You want to start with all right, you have a question about what's going on with our Hall of Fame episode, right?
Yeah, man.
So guys, if you haven't yet,
I wanted to be on that so bad.
Oh, I know. We're not done with it yet. Okay. We're going to have to record another one, probably a part 2, 3, 4, but, go and check out, guys, go to our Patreon / main network, so MAINETWORK, and sign up, join, get the bonus footage, and that's how you're going to see our Hall of Fame episode. Okay, so what we do is at this one it was Angel, myself, and Chris Walker, just us three, and Travis was monitoring it, right?
I don't know how he would have been able to just monitor it and stay quiet.
Anyways,
you didn't.
We brought him in when we needed to. Okay. So, anyways, each of us bring up a name. We say why, and then the other two say yes, no, or maybe. Okay.
All right. I don't want to know because I don't want to spoil everything.
Right.
I know who Angel's first one was because I heard it on CTE.
Right.
I want to know who was your first name that you brought up.
Mine was Nasty.
Okay.
So, I mean, I was gonna the goal of this was let's go ahead and put the
obvious ones.
The obvious ones in there, right? Let's put the obvious ones in there. And then if they get thrown out, okay, whatever. But at the least, if that happened.
Let's get some traction here.
They would be amazing,
the obvious
right?
ones.
And just put it,
Let's get the ball rolling.
Yeah, let's get the ball rolling. Let's get this group going because 20 is hard, okay? And somehow we have 15, and still I may actually Chris and I may try to pull back and say, hey, hold on, we need to take these two out because we didn't get these names before to,
Well, that's what I think is probably going to happen. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what you guys did, but I think it's got to be the way.
There's still some names even that were on the – so for people that listen to CTE and were confused, the list of 15 people that were left, or I think it was like 30 people and the maybes, all those are all the ones that names that we nominated that we haven't even voted on yet. Okay. Because we did already over an hour and we were like, okay, we got to stop this. We can't get all of our 20.
This is like a free agent list in fantasy football.
Let's just say all the names that you had on your list that we haven't been able to talk about yet, And so I had like 9 or 10 and Chris had like 8. Angel had 2, maybe 3. Out of that though, from that, we did add 1 in there. They were like, hey, we haven't even talked about him yet. He's in it. Can we all just agree? Yes. Boom. So there's some like that, right?
Okay.
And then after that, as soon as I got home that night, I texted and I brought, here's 2 more names that are almost like have to be in here. And it's just hard, man, because you, especially when you were talking about 20 that in all of sport karate. Okay. And again, for all of us, none of us were there in the 60s, 70s, or even really even the 80s. I mean, I was a kid, so I've seen footage, I've seen stuff, but we know the impact. So,
so now I got a question then.
Yeah.
Was there guys from the 60s and 70s that were thought of, yeah, they got to be in?
Yeah, there was a couple.
Because I feel like a couple is all you can do.
Well, yeah.
It's all you can do. All right. And you got to think, and I don't know if it was it, because remember, I wasn't on there. I could see if Joe Louis, I could see if it was Pat Worley, I could see some of these guys. I can't see a lot because I can't really see a scenario in which talent-wise, any of them are better than.
Yeah, but that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about.
My eye sees.
But it's not. It doesn't say who the best. It's who had the most, like, the impact. Who are the game changers? Who are the ones that pushed this sport to that next level?
Who are
and then maybe continue to be involved. Like one of the names started in the 60s, 70s, 70s, then went to a whole nother realm in the 80s, and then continued to be involved in the sport in the 90s and even into today.
Oh, so it was Billy Blanks.
No. So anyways, but you know what I'm saying? Like there's ones
I get it. Right? I get what you're saying. And you make a lot
hard.
of sense.
And then even adding in like coaches and adding in like,
I see that.
I mean, promoters and stuff, like
Larry Connihan makes sense. And I don't know if you guys talked about him. I don't know if he's in, but it would be hard pressed for me to say the sport.
And see, for me, it's the way without Larry, without Boyce, without a lot of these guys, man, without.
And really, those are the two, right? Those are the two most
in America, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you think about,
where you're going with that.
How did that start even before that?
I see where you're going.
There's a name. See,
there's a name
on there that I brought up.
Yeah.
That actually probably influenced everybody, but we couldn't put him all the way in there yet because it's just too hard to say yes or no.
Yeah, it's hard.
A name I'm going to go ahead and put this name out there because you guys, and we're probably already saying too much. But
he's an influence, but then you got to look at it and you go, yeah. But how much but I don't know.
Well, I know. Hard. He.
Wait, I didn't ask this though. Who was Chris's first pick?
I don't know if you put Raymond in there. I think his might have been Raymond. Yeah, we just went ahead and did those and got it,
When I was listening, I'm like, well, that's the first one. I literally had the same thought process as Carlos when I was listening to CTE.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. But then when Travis asked him, who would you pick for foreign weapons? In my head, I actually think I said it out loud. I'm like, John Valera, right?
Yeah.
He said it too.
I don't think he was the first foreign weapons one put in there.
Well, but obviously not. Angel said Matt Emig.
Yeah, but he didn't make it.
Now, see, that's a weird thing.
He's still in the maybes. He's in the maybes.
Okay, so we had to be like, all right, we got to curb. So we didn't. So it wasn't a hard. We decide yes or no yet on it. It was
because here's the deal. When you go that early, like hold on, that's I would say to me, I think on the impact of the sport as a whole, he's a top 20 guy. But when you also look at those, there's other people that should be in there before. So that's the hard part.
I agree. I agree.
But he may not even. But honestly, when you look at the list, he may not even make it. So
that's crazy talk.
Yeah, because there's that many important people, and people that have done some crazy stuff, man. So
and everybody listening to this right now is probably shouting names.
Yeah.
Right.
Shout name. Yeah. Go to our Patreon and watch it and enjoy, and then shout names even more of that.
Can't wait to.
So, all right. So that's one phone. All right. All of this talk about Hall of Fame and people and stuff, again, just gets us back into really what we started the show doing. You know what I mean? Like, and so does CTE, you know, talking about just the best of all time. And you know what? And we've talked about it some. We talked about the impact of soft style competitors and forms in our sport, especially in NASCA and in NBL and just the differences and how for a while, for a little bit, it was if you were either soft style or you were traditional winning grands in like the 2000s. It was like that after, at least in adults, you know, after.
Or if you were John Sue, you did both.
Yeah, it was DX, John Sue,
but no, that's the thing.
DeMarco.
John Sue would be both. He would be soft style weapons and traditional form, Japanese form.
True. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy.
Japanese form and Chinese weapons, but he did.
Right. So, all right. So let's just kind of throw some names out there. I don't know if we want to both put our top 5, but you know what? Top 5 always sounds good. So, so for me, let's just. You're
gonna go 1 to 5 or 5 to 1.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not going. I don't even have it written down. I'm just going off the top of my head. Let's go with weapons. And this is tough because as we go, there's going to be some that I'm like, oh wait, I should have added him in there or her in there, you know. But I'm going the bottom. Let's go with someone for weapons. I'm going to go with Richard Brandon, who to me was really the first one that I saw that really stuck with me. Like I saw live, you know, a lot.
Yeah, his live performance is a lot better.
And it's just his performance and then the variety of weapons he did. His double swords were awesome. He did a really good 3-sectional staff. People didn't see his longbow was awesome. So, you know, one of my favorite things he did, it was actually during a demo where he had the really long bow and crawled all the way up it and was doing monkey style.
I did see that.
And did that, you know, that was just fun. Dope. So yeah.
Now he did a 3-sectional staff form.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever saw him do a 3-sectional staff.
Yeah, he did it rare. But
now
it was good.
I did see one time I saw Ho-Sung Pak do a 3-sectional staff form.
Ho Young actually used.
Is it Ho Young Pak?
Ho Young. Ho Young did the 3-sectional. It was freaking amazing.
And when I saw him do it, he got all 10s.
Yeah.
How does he compare to Ho Young Pak?
I think Ho Young was better, but it was a completely different style. Like Ho Young, Ho Young would be my next one on there.
Oh, like, didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, Ho Young was so strong and powerful, it was just nuts, and so was his brother Ho-Sung.
Yeah.
But Ho Young, like, that's why later on he went into the American division. He was winning the American division as a soft stylist in the 90s and like 93, right?
And guys tried to do that the other way around, just could not do it.
Right. And he was just so freaking strong, but he was doing, you know, Chinese forms. I mean, just amazing. But to me, his weapon was the best. He did the I Want to Be a Hero song, and it was just awesome, dude. And his 3-sectional staff was amazing to me. So he would be on my list as well. So I put 4 and 5 on there. How about you? And this is weapons.
Yeah. So for weapons, I don't know. Okay.
It's really hard because
listing numbers. I don't know, man. It's hard to do numbers.
Well, let's not do numbers. Just say, hey, I put 2 in. You put 2 in.
All right, I'm gonna put 2 in. I would also have Richard Brandon.
Yeah.
I only remember that one time seeing Ho Young Pak, right?
Okay.
So I don't think I can put him in there because I just don't remember seeing him that much.
Right.
But I definitely saw Anthony DeMarco.
Yeah.
I'm putting Anthony DeMarco's in. Hell
For
yeah.
weapons? For weapons?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I wouldn't put him for my
so
weapons.
Freaking cool.
Oh, I know. I would put him for my forms. I would put him for my
Bro,
forms,
I
not
mean,
my weapons.
I would probably put him for both, to be honest
Okay.
with you.
Yeah.
I mean, much like I would do with Richard Brandon. Spoiler
Well,
alert.
yeah.
Right? I don't know. The more I talk about it, I might not end up there. But yeah, I think I would. Definitely.
Yeah.
I think Anthony DeMarco was so clean, so cool, so skilled.
Yeah.
I think his talent level was up there with all of them.
All right.
So I got two with Richard and Anthony.
All right. So I would put in for another one for weapons.
Come on.
Would have to be, let's see, I'm trying to think which era. I mean, I already knew my number one is, but I gotta go Singao for weapon. And then probably Austin Jorgensen for weapon.
Really?
So those two, even though I want to put
Austin Jorgensen over Anthony DeMarco.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So for weapons, yeah. But there's still because I think weapons wise, Singao was amazing at weapons. Did some great stuff. Actually,
I'm not doubting Singao.
No,
I guess I was talking more Austin.
But Jorgensen's like his better stuff was his weapon, not his form. His form was good, but his weapon was actually where his drunken sword was what he won mostly with, and I loved it. It was just smooth. It was great. But I kind of want to put Keith Hirabayashi in there because this dude was amazing. So that's what I'm saying. It's really hard.
Right? I'm glad you at least went.
But my number one, do you know who my number one is?
Yes.
Minglu.
Duh.
Yeah. So with the staff.
Duh.
And her 3-sectional bow was good too, man. She was good.
All right. So I got 3 more to pick. So I've got Minglu as my number one. I think I'm gonna go Lee Pei-yun.
Yes, that's a great one. See, I missed another one too. God, there's another one.
Lee Pei-yun.
No, not him. I'm thinking someone else in my head.
And then I think.
Do it.
I think I'm gonna say DX.
Oh, okay. See, I was.
No, I don't know because that's his impact for forms. That's not right for weapons. Right.
You know who? Same time frame. We already mentioned his name earlier.
No, who?
John Su.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think. I think that right answer might be John Su, but now we got to kick it around. So who would I be leaving off then? If I'm leaving off a final spot, I don't think Austin. I think I put Austin Jorgensen in there.
Singao, maybe.
I think it's Singao. I think I put Singao in there. So I think mine would be Richard Brandon, Anthony DeMarco, Singao, Lee Pei-yun, and Minglu.
Okay. And I said Richard Brandon, Austin Jorgensen, Singao, Ho Young Pak, and Minglu.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, that's good. All right, for forms. This is even harder now because there's more names that are coming in my head that are just like, oh, man.
I actually feel a little bit clearer about forms. So, for forms, DX is in for me.
Yeah.
DX is in. And I think Anthony DeMarco is also in. All right? That's who I got. That dude's butterfly kicks. They're so perfect.
Yeah.
They were so high. He would just float, man. Dude was high. All right? All right, that's my 2. I got DX, I got Anthony DeMarco.
Okay. I'm going to put in. Oh man! All right, so I'm gonna go Ho Sung Pak for forms.
I wish I had more experience watching them, man.
just amazing competitor. And then, oh man, I'm going to go ahead and put her in now, Ming Lu. So, yeah.
I mean, she's probably the number one for me, but I'm going to put her in. Okay.
Yeah.
So Ming Lu, so that's 3. Richard Brandon.
Okay.
And I don't think Richard Brandon was better than everybody, but I think like
the impact, dude.
The impact. And like when he won 2 diamonds in 94.
Right.
That was a big freaking deal.
And you got to think about his consistency too, and how long he was doing this.
Not just consistently in doing it. How about consistency is like it was the same form.
Well,
we all could tell the butterfly, yeah. Stop at the edge of the ring.
But
he would wave.
Right.
Like, all right.
But I mean, think about it, because
he'd
been doing this since like the mid 80s, and was still went until 98, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about his last year that he's competing. He's still tied for the U.S. Open Grand with Kim Do and John Blair.
That's true.
Yeah. He looked awesome. He really did. That was one of his best forms I've ever seen him do.
That's right. The 98 U.S. Open was like legendary, and I was still rooting for like Kim Do, right? The rookie at the time.
Yeah. All right. So you said Ming Lu. You said Richard Brandon. So those two, I have to do.
So I got 4, right?
Yeah, you got 4. All right. So I said Ming and Ho Sung. Man, this is really hard. I'm gonna go ahead and put DX in there because he's one of my favorites ever, and I just remember that first U.S. Capital Classics when I saw him show up, and he did the double butterfly twist into a split. We had never seen that. And then he did another double spin, and he did another. It was just like, good God, what is going on, man? And you just knew that, okay, the level just.
And he did the jump flat drop.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he just went to a whole nother level. Let's see.
Does that put you at 4? I have to remember.
That puts me at 3. This is still hard because I feel like I'm going to be leaving people off that I feel like are really good. And I don't even know my order of who would be number 1, but I'm going to go with the impact that he made. And both of these people are actually older, and I've only seen a few videos, but it was just the impact of what they did. They're not my number 1, but my last 2 would be Keith Hirabayashi. Just this dude was just the man. If John Chung, like once he stopped, it was like Keith Hirabayashi, just, him, John Fournette, Charlie kind of going back and forth. Just, it was like, that was their era. You know what I mean? At that time. And the dude did all of it. He fought, he did forms, he did weapons, he did everything. So, but he was just, to me, that first soft style competitor that kind of created that legacy as that being an important division to win in what we do now, and the other one was one of the best forms I've ever seen in my life, and that was Philip Wong, the 1990 Battle of Atlanta, where this dude did like a butterfly twist and got wrapped up in the ropes, twisted out, and then jumped off the ropes and dude was wild, man, and he didn't show up that much, but when he did, it was nuts. So, yes.
All right, what do I have?
And see, I'm still missing people. Like, once you get to yours, we're just gonna have to list names that we hadn't even mentioned who were amazing. So,
and we're gonna get texts in the morning.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
All right. So, what is my 5 so far? Out of order, by the way. All right.
Yeah. Anthony DeMarco, DX, Ming,
Richard Ming,
Brandon. Yeah, and you just got one more.
For form, where do I want to let that last one lie? It might be Sengao.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, that's the hard thing, man.
I like me some Sengao, man.
Yeah, I like Sengao too. And honestly, as I'm thinking, I may actually like his form more than I like his weapon, and I have one weapon and not form. So I don't know. It's tough, man.
Yeah, I
But
think it's Sengal for
so
me.
this is a good conversation to have. I think we need to talk about more. Here's some names that I think I'm mad that we didn't get to mention, or that did important things. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we're talking about Bam Johnson, Willie Bam Johnson.
Oh man.
We got Gary Stearns was someone who was great. It was awesome to see. Christine Banner Rodriguez, you have to say she was impactful at that time, right?
Yeah.
You have right after her was Michelle Boutin, who took it to the next one. Cynthia Rothrock before that, right? There is, let's see. I feel like there's some other ones that we didn't really get to mention yet, but I mean, even some of the newer ones that have been out over the past 10 years, it's just, I feel like though we've kind of missed that really like all inspiring person since Sengal, really, as far as
I think
with
and
what I think
happened with that. So when we saw people like, and I think we both agreed that Ming Lu might be the best in forms and weapons. She might be the best soft style competitor as a whole.
But in our world, because
exactly.
Because
I'm going to go there.
Because she was a C-level competitor in Beijing.
I think she was on the C team.
DX was an A-level team. He was the best.
He was that.
And you guys, if you don't know, Sengal is still winning world titles, and he just won the Pan Ams, representing the U.S. So he's going to be going to the World Championships. He's been winning these against it, and he's up in age, so he's still out there competing. So
right. So I think. Well, where I was going was like with Ming Lu, and you really brought it home, like with DX and Sengal. Like these guys are competitors that exist in another realm,
right?
But they kind of dip their toes into our sport. That's a lot like what Ariel Torres was doing.
Yeah.
With the WKF division.
Correct.
If we keep shunning outsiders, we're gonna keep to our own. It's just going to be a bunch of Taekwondo stylists that pretend they do Japanese form, right? Because the ones who did Japanese form, the real Japanese stylists, basically just said, here, you've already won everything.
Right. Yeah, because these guys are going back to their, their thing, or they're going to go to stunts. That's pretty much the way it is. A lot of those guys move to do that. So yeah, I mean. And man, there are some other ones that it's wild.
Yeah, but we're gonna get the text. Don't worry about it, man.
Yeah, it'll be good. The reason though that Ming Lu, and I think a lot of us say she's the best, is because she had something that others didn't, and that was facials. Her eyes.
I was also like in the mid-90s too.
It was mid-90s, yeah, 94, 95, when she showed up, and just the intensity, the power, it was something we hadn't seen before. But I feel like to me, it's just that those, like, she looked like a Terminator when you really think about it, right? She looked like a Terminator that just like didn't have, but she competed. It looked like she didn't have a soul, right? She was just coming to kill you.
Oh, it looked like she had all of them. Looked like she was taking yours, like,
right. Get over here, some Mortal Kombat stuff. Yeah. Yeah, man. So this has been fun to talk about. I'm sure we'll talk some more next week. Oh, guys, so next week we are going to have a insider, but also a great veteran of our sport, Drew Derek Bisbee. He's going to talk about just different things that he grew up doing in martial arts, the Full Circle days, really get into that. And then, even opinions on what's going on today. And so it's going to be great because he's a great person to debate with, to go back and forth with. And he not only competes, but he's very involved in the judging at tournaments as well. So we're going to get a lot of insight
for my fantasy football team. Dude, how's your team doing in the Inside Scoop League?
I'm 2-1 now. Yeah.
Dude, my team stinks. I gotta look at my roster right quick.
I'm 2-1 in that one, and then in your
in the other
I'm
league?
in your sparring league. I'm 2-1 as well, but I have I'm like 100 points higher than everyone because every week I've gotten 150 to 160 points, even losing one week.
You stink.
So, yeah, it's gonna be great, man. This is gonna be wild. Actually, I don't think we have anyone that's like completely undefeated. So this year is going to be really tight. You know, we don't have a Romani.
Jim is winless, though.
We don't have a Romani that
Jim doesn't have a win yet. Jim is 0-3.
Okay, that's true. But I think he has a better team than.
He's got a good squad.
He does.
He's just got guys like Aaron Rodgers and Ezekiel Elliott on his squad that decide they don't want to play football.
They don't play. Yeah, right. Oh man. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Share, spread the pod to everybody, and then join our Patreon, and we're going to give you even more, man. So
you can even send the pod to those who think nut grabbing is okay. Because apparently they all listened.
Nut fondling.
Yeah, no kidding. All right. This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Dawes. See you guys next week.